What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Thursday afternoon / early evening so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about AEW bringing in another AEW signing. And this one has a lot to do more with the backstage personnel and is going to be one of the right-hand men in terms of creative control for AEW going in terms of the long-term creative heading into the rest of 2023 and beyond. And that is AEW has officially signed Will Washington, who has now been announced as the AEW Wrestling Administration Coordinator and is going to be part of the long-term storyline and long-term booking for AEW moving into the rest of this year and beyond. FightfulSelect provided more details about Washington's new role. And this is what Fightful had to say. With the responsibilities include overseeing continuity and aiding in long-term creative, working directly with Tony Khan, and also the report noted that any certain member of the AEW roster who are purportedly told about the signing at April 26th taping of Dynamite, that the two parties had come to an agreement earlier in the week and that the deal will be finalized following the day of April 27th. So obviously he was part of AEW Dynamite last night. He might not have had a creative impact on the show, but he's going to be some type of factor going forward. Washington had been reporting on the Wrestling News for close to 2 decades, but is best known as the podcast host and contributor for Fightful, being featured on the Grapsody and the DayAfterDynamite shows. He obviously has a lot to do with some of the post stuff going on with AEW Dynamite, and obviously Tony Khan enjoyed a lot of his ideas and a lot of his proposals that he threw out there, and Tony Khan decided to try to bring him in as part of the AEW commentary going forward, which is a great thing to hear. Washington also isn't the only signing that AEW has brought in recently, as AEW, of course, signed Commander, one of the luchadors that has been making waves, pretty much been known as the guy that can walk the tightrope better than any other luchador wrestler out there, and he's made appearances previously for PWG, GCW, and AEW sisters company, Ring of Honor. Well, also, Roderick Strong has been announced as part of AEW's roster as well after making his return a couple of weeks ago to help out Adam Cole. This is a good signing in terms of bringing in Will Witherspoon. AEW has Will Washington. They needed to bring in another guy that can help out with Tony Khan because of the amount of pressure that Tony Khan has had on his plate this entire time. Now you bring in somebody like Will Washington who could come in and he could pretty much be a guy that could be Tony Khan's right-hand man going forward, and it's going to make it a lot easier for Tony Khan to be able to book these shows going forward. And even Tony Khan went on Twitter to talk about the news. Tony Khan went on his Twitter yesterday saying he's the new AEW Wrestling Administration Coordinator, and he's going to work in many areas of wrestling, including live events, social media, creative, PR, public relations, and he has a great wrestling mind. He's now going to be part of the AEW stock going forward. In Washington, of course, like I mentioned before, he's best known as being a wrestling podcaster in the world, including roles with RBR Wrestling and Grapsody, After the Week, and Day After Dynamite. He's announced last week that he's finishing up his time with Day After Dynamite podcast, which in retrospective is likely due to his new role with AEW. And that's a good thing to hear. Tony Khan needs help. Everybody out there has been stating Tony Khan needs to have other people as part of this creative to help him out when it comes to the creative side of All Elite Wrestling. You bring in a mind now that knows the wrestling business left and right, has a very successful podcast on his resume, and is also somebody that is very, very interactive and very, very locked in to everything about All Elite Wrestling. You bring him in and you allow him to go in there and pretty much be one of the guys that can help run AEW Creative and be one of the mindful guys in terms of booking long-term stories. Because Tony Khan now has a lot on his plate. He's got to think about AEW Dynamite, AEW Rampage, Ring of Honor. Obviously, you have the AEW Collision show that's going to be coming in June 17th of this year in the United Center. That's the new show that's supposed to come out in about a month and a half. You got Double or Nothing that's happening at the end of this month. You got Forbidden Door in the beginning of July. You got All In, the big Wembley show, which right now AEW is doing a phenomenal job selling out that show. They got over 43,000 tickets sold for that show already. And that's even before pre-sales goes on sale in America. You also got All Out that's going to be happening in the beginning of September. So there's going to be a lot of things happening in AEW, and Tony Khan cannot have all the pressure put on himself. He needs to have other guys as part of his team to go out there and help lead the charge for All Elite Wrestling, and that's exactly where Will Washington and some of the other guys that are behind the scenes for AEW are going to come into play. So this is a very good move in terms of AEW and their player personnel going forward. So this is going to be, Mike Maloney is another one that they brought in recently. So this is a good thing for AEW, honestly. This is going to be something that All Elite Wrestling is needed to get together on some other perspectives and other people that can handle the creative side of this company. Tony Khan needed help. He needed help. And this is exactly what the company needed. Bringing in a smart mind like Will Washington. And he's only going to help this company going forward. So hopefully he can provide even more in terms of long-term storyline. Because right now AEW has been lacking a little bit in terms of their AEW storytelling going forward. It's been sort of like a dead period for All Elite Wrestling. I mean, I know you got Double or Nothing, and AEW has killed it at their pay-per-views. I mean, if anybody didn't see Revolution, that show was absolutely top to bottom, probably the best wrestling show so far this year. And AEW usually does an excellent job when it comes to their wrestling departments and their wrestling pay-per-views. This is one of those opportunities right now where AEW can just go out there and produce another hell of a pay-per-view. And now that you got more people behind the scenes that are only going to help AEW in terms of booking better overall shows, helping out with long-term creative, it's only going to help out the future of this company going forward. And it's going to help out the long-term storyline and the storytelling, which has honestly been lacking over the course of time recently for AEW. Now you add in this, and it's only going to make AEW that much better going into the future. Hopefully we'll have to wait and see what is next for AEW as we continue to count down the clock until we get to Double or Nothing, which is going to be happening on May 28th during Memorial Day weekend. So I just want to give you guys a quick report. AEW has officially signed Will Washington as the new administration coordinator for All Elite Wrestling. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and give a sub to NYGJeffyT85. More news updates and chatter surrounding All Elite Wrestling. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding All Elite Wrestling. And you guys let me know in the comment section what you think about AEW hiring former podcaster Will Washington as his new administration coordinator of the company, and the role he will be part of and what roles he'll be involved in terms of creative and other aspects for AEW moving forward. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Take it easy, and let's see what All Elite Wrestling has cooking for us. Shout out to my guy Earl Cole heading into the rest of this week and next week for AEW.